Counter-Strike as a game has quite a bit of drama at the team level, and sometimes this is behind the scenes drama, or sometimes it's on Twitter. You never really know what's going to happen with these players, but recently, Mouz made an unexpected roster change by cutting Shui, and then they had brollan step into that IGL role. Now, after the first event that they went to, which wasn't very convincing, a lot of people were rightfully concerned about what would happen with Mouz. But then they went to PGL Cluj-Napoca and they won the event. And not only did they win the event, they looked really good. Now, I understand that there wasn't any of the big dog teams there, but it's still a pretty convincing win over Falcons. And I want to go ahead and look at this series that they played and talk about some of the moments that really impressed me. And we'll get to that right after a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. Now, if you're not familiar with SkinsMonkey, this is a trade site that allows you to take some of the old and crusty skins out of your inventory, and you can actually trade them in for something a little bit new, a little bit shinier than what you have right now. And it's really easy to do this, actually. All you need to do is log in through Steam, pick the skins that you don't want to use anymore, grab the ones that you do, and then click trade. All trades will pretty much happen immediately, and any balance that you don't use in your trade actually stays on the site for you to use for any future trades that you decide to do. And right now, if you use the link in the description, you can actually get a 35% deposit bonus, and that's good for up to $100. So let's say you deposit $100, you would actually get $135 on the site if you use my link. So make sure you check out SkinsMonkey, and let's hop right back into the video. So we're going to cover the entire best of 5 versus Falcons, and we're going to start on the CT side of Dust 2, which is map 1, and I want to show you something that thematically brollan likes to call on his CT sides, and we'll touch on this as we get deeper in the series. But here we go. We have a long aggression. Of course, the idea here is brollan's holding flashes for his team after he smoked door. If they make any noise outside of long doors, they're going to flash and try to fight. But since Torzi went down early, they're in a 5-on-4, so brollan is going to actually change the plans. And if we speed this up here, you can see, and call for a re-aggress in towards Cat. And this is really strong because what happens is Nico is all alone. So we'll watch this from, I don't know, Exertion's POV. They're going to re-aggress Cat, and now they're actually in time to stop the hit as it comes in. As you see, they found this one player alone, and now they're going to be able to fight for Cat. Spinx has the info, he'll be here soon as well, and they're really on the back foot. It's a 4-on-3 all of a sudden. It's really flipped on its head, and that's because brollan is still back towards site since he was the one flashing, and well, that's pretty much it. They win this round just based off of that re-aggression. Now, a lot of people on your CT sides, if you play in Pugs, if you lose a men, it might feel like the better option to just play safe and more reserved. That way you have a chance, like, because if you just play on the site, maybe you'll get one. But it's actually better to get ahead of it sometimes, and this is a perfect example as to why. And we have another really good example here. This is the final round in the half, and what we have is long control for Mouz, and we have Torzi pushing upper tunnels with the op. Now, this is not uncommon, but of course Falcons was ready for it, and they're going to get the opening pick again. Now, if we remember what I just talked about in the previous round, in a 4-on-5, brollan called for a re-aggress in towards Cat, and he's actually going to do this again, but the difference here is that we also have a player in mid who can kind of contain this as it happens. So what the plan is that we're going to fight Cat and create chaos. If Nico walks out mid, well, Jimmy will catch him late. If he doesn't, then Jimmy can peek late and just trade anybody. We'll see what happens. We're already losing the round, but now we can make the round in our control. And like I said, as we watch the rest of the series, you're going to see a ton of rounds like this. It's really just how brollan likes to call. And it's a really solid way to play Counter-Strike because look at this. They've equalized the situation. It's a 4-on-4, and now brollan can go pick up mid so Jimmy can play B. And when brollan picks up mid, he's actually going to find Tessus, and now they've turned a losing situation into a winning situation just because they've been playing aggressive and they don't just sit there and let things happen to them. And even again, after we just saw brollan get that kill, they still keep fighting mid. They clear it out, and now they have full info. They know that they have to be A or B, and so of course Exertion steps back, gets the kill, and just like that, we saw a 4-on-5 turn to a 4-on-2, actually turn into a winning round because Spinx is going to step out here and get the kill. And speaking of Spinx, I have a lot to say about him on this roster. Spinx is a very experienced player in this lurk role, and again, from map to map, we'll see a lot of examples of this, but we have long control for Mouz right now, and Spinx is going to be waiting outside of tunnels. Now, it doesn't go bad for Mouz, but they don't really have a clear path to go forward, and actually Falcons is going to be stacked on the A site right now. They've left B completely open, so if Mouz were to try to force A, there's a pretty good chance that they would actually lose this. Now, Spinx is going to be waiting in tunnels very patiently. Another player who does stuff like this is Rops, which is probably why Rops replaced him on Vitality. But again, once all of the pressure comes in, Dexter shoots his op, and Spinx goes, you know what, I'm just going to walk out B, because if he's here, I'm going to kill him because I'm better, but if he's not, well, I can make the round easier from brollan's perspective because I can tell him to come back B. And this is the example of an active voice in or I guess the analyst desk would call him a secondary caller, because he can now say, we're coming B, and actually that's exactly what happens. They reroute through T-Spawn, and Spinx is holding the rotations, and it's actually just the round. Like, that's how they win this round, because Spinx is a very aggressive lurker. But the important thing is what brollan does with this info. So we have another round where we're going to be going long, but remember what Spinx discovered last round. He discovered that they leave B in instances where long has been given. So once we get long control this time and we have a man advantage, it's pretty much the exact same thing as last round. What does brollan call? Well, he actually calls for them to freeze, and this is very, very strong. What they're doing here is they're just waiting for pushes. They know that Falcons like to gamble off B, which they've done again, by the way. And so brollan's thinking, well, if they gambled off B, there's a chance that they could try to flank us. There's a chance that they could be stacked here. Now Exertion's here because Spinx took his spawn, by the way, in case you're wondering. But still, they know that this is very likely, and they're just going to patiently wait, and it will be rewarded. Because here comes Tessus. It's only a matter of time now before he gets killed. I think Exertion actually gets him here on the flank. There it is. And now they know that they can go back towards B, and that's exactly what happens. Again, brollan comes out mid to cut the rotations, and everybody else is going to just go out tons, and they're going to win the round. So you see, brollan is getting fed all of this information, and he's not just wasting it. So some IGLs would get this information and then call what they want to call anyway, but brollan is adapting on the fly and making calls based off of how Falcons is playing, which is pretty impressive for a first-time IGL. Another thing that brollan does that makes him really fun to watch, in my opinion, is these rounds where he does what I'm going to call doing a Kerrigan. And he's doing a Kerrigan in the sense that he's going to run down mid and take a huge risk, but if it works and he gets a kill, his team should win the round. And even if he doesn't see anyone, well, he's going to create quite a bit of chaos on the side of Falcons. At least, like, imagine how their comms are going to be. He's out mid already, and they're like, wait, we're doing like long stuff still. It's still the beginning of the round. And that's exactly what happens. So brollan's going to just peek out mid, and he's going to get this kill onto Tessus. And if we watch this from Jimmy's perspective, as soon as brollan gets that opening kill, him and Spinx are going to immediately come out because, well, to be honest with you, they're probably only expecting one more here. They have a gamble stack in the sense that they have Nico here, so that's a little bit of an unknown. But Jimmy gets that kill. Magisk none the wiser. He's literally looking mid at 140 in the round. That is so depressing from his perspective. And now Nico is all alone. Now he is going to do a pretty good job. He's going to get Spinx and Jimmy both, but because brollan's still alive, he can get the trade out mid before going down. It's still a 2-on-2, but look at this. They've just set themselves up in such a way where they should just be winning the round, and it's all because brollan just took the round into his hands, just like Kerrigan does. And then look, they go on to win the round, and now they're on match point. So far, we've seen pretty impressive signs from brollan. He's also fragging as an individual pretty well, in my opinion. He even wins a 1v1 to close out this map, and now we're going to move on to Mirage. Okay, well, they got farmed, I'm not gonna lie. But on a serious note, it doesn't mean that you still can't see some of the same things happening. For example, here we see Spinx again off of this mid control. He's going to try to walk out Palace. The difference being is that he just gets shut down, but the concepts still apply from map to map. They are still trying to work this dynamic where Spinx is an aggressive lurk and tries to make it easier for brollan, but it just doesn't go well in this map. But truth be told, in a different universe, I could see this working out a lot better for them, and they probably could have been more competitive because Spinx was still playing pretty good, all things considered, but they just couldn't put rounds together as a team. But either way, that's why it's a best of 5, not a best of 1. Moving on to Nuke, there is so much that I want to say about this map. I'm really impressed with how they were playing it, but here we have a really, really strong round where Exertion is going to go in towards Africa right away, and he does have support from Torzi, who is going to make it look like nobody's here. He's going to nade this smoke and maybe do a little bit of spamming, all to just sell the illusion that nobody is up close, and he does a pretty good job at making Nico not expect anyone, because look at that, Torzi just got spotted, and Nico's thinking, well, there's surely no way anybody would have pushed up without a smoke. He is going to check it, but not really. It's more like a, yeah, I'm looking here because he's kind of going through the motions thing. But either way, now, off the back of this outside aggression, we need to talk about what brollan's doing with the rest of the guys. You might notice that there is nobody on a site, and what I mean by that is nobody is on the site. They are in the rafters, and the reason that that is because, well, once you drop off the rafters, you can't rotate to help ramp or to help outside anymore. The only way for you to help is by pushing lobby or by coming mini and fighting outside or dropping vent and so on, right? But brollan is staying inside of the rafters. And because of that, Torzi's able to rotate back, but it's not just Torzi, it's also brollan. And look, Spinx is boosted up. They just shut down the round completely, and it's all because of this conscious decision to not drop anyone's sight. Now, I know what you're thinking. If that's the case, then why don't we never drop sight? Well, because if you do that, then you're just going to lose to A rushes every time. And the reason that this one works in particular is because Jimmy boosted Spinx ramp and then went down lower. So if anybody did come out A, they just would have played retake, and maybe they even would have saved. I'm not gonna lie to you, that's a really like could have happened. But if they went down vent, well, Jimmy would have been waiting for them. If they rushed ramp, Spinx would have had them. And they set up for everything but A. This is something that happens a lot on Nuke. Again, not to go on a little bit of a rambling spree, but you will see this sometimes. They'll just give up ramp completely in the mid round and fight for outside. Or maybe they'll just give up lower. Or maybe they'll just give up, you know, outside and play for the wrap and let them go down secret. There's a lot of things that you have to let happen on the CT side, but that's why the best teams in the world are so good at this map, is because they have that communication, then they understand where the gaps are, and they can play off of each other really well, like you just saw. Now, do you remember how I said Spinx makes mid rounds easier for brollan on T side? Well, he actually does it on CT side as well, albeit this is a little bit different. Now, I have seen stuff like this before, but this is very unique to Mouz, where they're going to send Spinx on what is effectively a Spinx go kill call, and Spinx is going to walk into hut right away, and he catches Magisk. Now, he does have help. Jimmy's close ramp, I will admit, but Spinx is basically all alone, and then he's going to go up on the roof. It looks like I'm watching Truck Lover 86. Like, seriously, this is literally what this looks like. It looks like somebody is just playing a pug, running through hut, going up the ladder. What is happening? But here's what I think. I think Spinx has been told to kind of play a little bit more loose, go for something aggressive so that they force these awkward situations where brollan has a good read on the situation and can call around it. So you see, the only gap is outside, and now all hands on deck. They're all looking outside. Jimmy's in lower. It's just perfect. It's a perfect round, but it's controlled chaos from the side of Mouz, and it just confuses the ever-loving shit out of Falcons. I mean, imagine if you were playing and you're watching this from Tessus's POV. You're just the outside guy, chill guy, and all of a sudden there's a guy on the roof, and he's like, what? There's a guy on the roof and two of my teammates are dead? And then, you know, this guy's like, I got secret. Don't worry, guys, get ready to come. Okay, he's secret too. Do you have any idea how frustrating that must be from the Falcons' perspective? But that's exactly where brollan wants them, and that's exactly where they have them. Now, I want you to take both of those rounds we just talked about and combine them into one. So we have Exertion going outside. He's set up by Torzy once again, and he's going to get the opening onto Dexter. Now, once we recognize what's happening, Spinx is going to smoke the door, and oh wait, look at him, he's doing it again. He's walking through the door smoke. He's just going for another Spinx go kill play, but it works really well. Look, Kicksit, he has no idea. He has actually no idea what's happening. And again, from the side of Falcons, what do you even say? What are the comms? Now Nico's dying to Exertion, who's still out there, by the way, and it's very, very chaotic. But if you watch it from Mouse's perspective, it's everything going according to plan. They planned this. That's what you need to understand. They planned this. And Falcon, how do you even counter that? It's not how Counter-Strike is played at the high level typically. And so it's probably really frustrating when they're not going through the, like, oh, it's a checklist. We know how this goes, guys. We're going to throw outside smokes. We're going to go to secret. They're going to rotate. We're going to do this. The opera's going to be here. Like, you're trying to plan stuff like that. No. That's not happening. That's not happening in this game. Mouz is just running around and you're getting farmed. Now, focusing on the T side of Nuke, I want to share with you these few rounds, which are just, honestly, they're just so fun to watch from my perspective. What we have here is Falcons have won 5 rounds in a row. Things aren't going very well. And brollan again is going to do a Kerrigan where he, you know, Jimmy gets a kill on the A player. He knows that's the upper. So brollan walks mini. Now, he should have died, but he doesn't. He gets the kill onto Nico, and now they can call an A split. But it's more important than that, because even though they will go on to win this round, it's not about what happened. It's still a choppy one-on-one. But right now, while Torzy's clutching this round, brollan's making a plan, and his plan is very simple. We're going to call an A execute, a very strong A execute, where we're going to throw all the util, and we're going to have our entries go out and everything, right? Spinx is going to entry. Again, we expect this. Jimmy's on the trade. It's just a perfect A execute. Who cares about that? What I care about is what happens next. So let me explain to you what happened, and then we're going to watch what brollan decides to call. Now, both of these things go hand in hand. Brollan discovers the mini gap, which wasn't a gap Nico whiffed, but same thing, and then an A execute. Now, the idea here is we want to combine these things. We made them worried about the A execute, and Nico is exceptionally in his head. I mean, it's just the facts. We're playing high-level Counter-Strike. We know Nico gets a little tilted at himself sometimes. This is what happens. So, look at this strat, and I want you to really appreciate this. So, Exertion's going to clear outside, and then they're going to throw the outside cross smokes from close. Exertion and brollan will both throw the smokes, and what happens here is brollan gets the kill on Nico. That's the first step. Now, that's the player who's normally responsible for holding the mini gap. But remember, now Exertion is going to mindfully run across. He wants to be heard. And the reason he wants to be heard is because he wants it to look like they're going secret. Now, everything comes together. We have the rest of the guys. They're setting up an A execute. and brollan is going to combine what he just learned, which was that A is a little bit weak on the exec, and there's a mini gap. And it's even worse than that because they also have exertion who ran secret. So even though it looks like it could be an A split, they heard somebody go secret. Now they're expecting somebody to rotate down off of this, and now brollan is going to go into mini and get killed. But look at the overcompensation. It doesn't, I understand. You're probably thinking, oh, he died. It doesn't matter. You're missing the point. It doesn't matter. Do you see the overcompensation? They all come to fight outside, and because they're in mini, they lose the A site. You missed it. You missed everything that happened. They literally, here, let me replay it again. So they go to clear the outside gap. They think that they're going secret. They're gonna clear outside, maybe flank. Look, they all, look at who's on A. Look, nobody's home. And the A execute is perfectly timed. It doesn't matter that brollan died. Look, the guys are dying in mini. And now exertion can come, and it's perfect. It's actually a perfect round. We don't need brollan. You think, oh, because brollan died, it didn't. No, it worked perfectly. I mean, seriously, it's just so impressive how brollan looks like he has 10 years of IGLing experience, but it's really his second event. Like, it's actually insane that he can put them in such a good position to win finals. Like, they go on to win this map. Now they're up 2-1. If it was best of 3, they win, but they have one more map to play, and that map is going to be Ancient. Now, in the interest of keeping this video a little bit shorter today, we're going to just talk about this 1T round where we have the fast mid control coming in, and we're going to see Spinx do the same thing that we've talked about. So they are in a 4-on-3, so that's why he's waiting a little bit longer than usual, but now he's going to walk up. He has a feeling nobody's home, and he's actually wrong, but he catches a really good timing onto Tessus, and then brollan trades him, and then they win the round. It's just, again, we see that entire thing of create chaos, and then Spinx can lurk out. It's all of these things come together on all of these maps. Now, one of the hardest things for new IGLs and new teams is to not choke when you're up a pretty big lead and about to win a match. So what we have in this round is Nico finding a cave gap through mid, and I want you to just remember this round because individual plays will happen, but you might forget them, but brollan won't, and we'll touch on this when it matters later. Now, because they lost the round previously, they're going to go for a banana crunch. They have MP9s and not a ton of utility, so it's actually not a bad call to go for. Try to force the fights with the SMGs. Jimmy's going to get in their face, and he's going to get both of these kills out mid, and he recognizes that they're trying to do something very similar on their T side, which is a mid and banana crunch. So they're basically calling the same thing, but on the opposite sides. Now, just because Jimmy got those kills doesn't mean that we should stop the plan. Even though it is a 5v3, it's still okay to continue aggressing because you know that they're not in a good position, plus our mid players can help us. Now brollan is going to fight on the ramp with Spinx, and they're going to get the kills, which is going to pretty much win them the round, and now they're in a really good position. So here we are at the grand finals point. Falcons lost the force by last round, so it's just they're up against it. They're going to go for an execute. They don't have a ton of options, and look at the team play for the guys on Mouz. We get this flash for Jimmy. He lines them up, and it's looking really good, but things actually don't go well because Spinx burns to death trying to fight default and actually gives back the equalizing kill. Exertion gets caught on the flank, and Falcons win the round. So naturally, what do you do after you win a round like that? Well, for Falcons, well, they're just going to call an A rush again, and I honestly kind of respect this a lot. They're going to get into A main, and they're going to get these trades. I like the idea that Mouz was playing in A main, playing for this, but now there's really no rotates, and it's all exertion. And once he goes down, that's another round for Falcons. So what did we just see? We saw 2 rounds towards A, and naturally what you would expect for brollan is for him to take this full eco and stack A completely. Okay, now this is, I'm a little worried about this because you're kind of giving in to the idea that Falcons is maybe scaring you. They just went A 2 times in a row, so you stack A. I mean, surely they wouldn't come 3 times in a row, right? And they know you're saving. They're not going to. Now it's round 22, and we get a much needed timeout for Mouz. Now, the reason that we have to have this timeout is because they lost a round they should have won. They should be lifting their trophy right now, but instead they're playing another round of Counter-Strike. What do I mean? Well, that round where Jimmy gets 2 kills, the only way they lose is because Spinx actually takes himself out of the round, and then it's just unfortunate things happen. Then they lose an A rush right after. A little bit of momentum. It could feel like you blink, and all of a sudden, here we are. It's 12-9. We also had that full eco stack, which, I mean, brollan calls an A stack. Maybe they're just trying to calm down, but they call this timeout, and now we get the coach talking. What do we call for this round? This could be our second to last gun round. We could be looking at overtime if we don't get it under control. And pauses are very underrated. I mean, you could even take a pause in your pug. People will laugh at you, but that's silly because sometimes your nerves get the better of you. Maybe you're on your rank up game and you would need to call a timeout just so you don't tilt out. And that's exactly what they do. So what did we call? So we've called a regular round, except there is a few things we need to remember. So If you recall, the round that Falcons won beforehand was a round where Nico was able to get out mid with nobody contesting him and get into cave. So we need to keep that in mind. Now we have one round since where we've done banana crunches, where we have done one round since where we've done banana crunches and we've won a round in mid and so on. Now we need to remember everything that's happened because we know what Falcons is going to try to do. So we have mid control. We need to shut down Nico right away, and he's going to go for the spam, and Jimmy's going to catch him. Now, that is the main threat out of the round right away. Now, instead of going for potentially that banana crunch like I talked about, brollan is instead going to just give up cave. He knows they could be in cave right now. He's not too worried about it, and he's just going to play on the site, and Spinx is going to set him up. They've taken a risk. Exertion has gotten up here. Now, he's going to clear cave so that everything is comfortable. Now, they have all the info. They know mid is clear. They have cave control. brollan's on the site. They probably won't expect him here. And Spinx is set up. Torzy's opping A. Well, not opping, I guess. He's playing the op role in A. Everything is perfect. Falcons have nothing. They're completely busted. They know they have to go now because if they don't go now, they could risk getting flanked. They know that it's not likely that there's a stack here. They throw all the utility. brollan gets one going for everything here. Spinx comes to the smoke. It looks a little dicey, but it's all over, and Kixton can't stop it from happening. It's inevitable, and Mouz have won their first trophy with brollan as the IGL. Genuinely, very impressive stuff, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed these reviews, please subscribe to the channel. We're creeping up on 50,000 subscribers on this channel, and so it would mean a lot to me if you guys would consider. And also, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Much love as always, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.